my name is Philippe Moulin. I am the CEO and founder of Drivequant. So we propose web services to connect vehicles and drivers. So we are in the auto insurance and we provide telematics, but a special kind of telematics. It's smartphone-based telematics. So as a startup, the problem we address all the mobility sector, and what we think is that all the companies in the mobility sector will be confronted to a lot of data. Okay, and they will need to use this data first to improve and monitor their service, but also to work on the security of their customers and to work on the environmental impact. And you, as insurers, you will be confronted to the same problem. How can you address this problem? Well, the solution we propose is to use that. Everybody has that in his pocket. And the good thing with that is that you can transform a smartphone into a data collecting device. And you can build new services and create value, okay? So what is very interesting with a smartphone is that today, all the cars that are in the street are not connected, and if you want to use some external devices like OBD dongles, well, it's expensive and difficult, but with that, you can collect every car and in almost every country in the world, okay? And what is very interesting also, and that was mentioned earlier this morning, the smartphone is very interesting if you want to work on the relationship with the customer, with the driver. Okay, so these are figures that come from a study from TELEMATICS showing that in the US, this is already happening. All the companies that were developing UBI based on dongles, on external devices, they have switched to mobile phone telematics. And probably this trend will continue also in Europe. So these are the services we can propose, okay? So we can propose a service, when you analyze the data, we can propose a service to work on the energy efficiency, to incentivize the driver to save fuel and save money, to work on the safety aspects. So first, the dynamic behavior of the driver, but also the usage of the phone, the pollutant emissions, and the predictive maintenance. And we've also developed mechanics to organize challenges, to organize gamification and coaching. Okay, and how do we operate? Well, we can propose our offer, so we can propose a web service or API. If you want to process any kind of data, you collect yourself with external devices or with your apps. But most importantly, we propose an SDK that allows anybody to transform their own app into a driving data collecting device and to do some telematics, okay, with no problem with the cost of the device and no problem with the logistics aspects. We also propose a white label app for the customer that do not have yet a mobile phone app. And for example, in our country, in France, most of the insurers do not yet have a mobile app, or it is not well used. So we propose to start with that, and for them to start to think about the services and to start to think about how they will create some value. Okay, so now a few use cases. So this is a use case that was released in France at the end of last year. So it's pay per minute, so it's usage-based insurance, but per minute, pay when you drive. Okay, so this is very consistent with global trends in the mobility sector around on-demand insurance, on-demand mobility. Okay, so this is live, and this is based on our white label app. Another use case, so for young drivers, for assisted driving, that was released also in France last year with MAIF. So the target here is to help parents and child interact while they are learning how to drive. And this is another use case that was made for a motorbike insurer, so called April, which is a broker. And this was made in cooperation with Allianz. Okay, so for motorbikes, you cannot have any external device. There's no OBD plug in a motorbike. So mobile phone is a good tool. And this is very interesting because for motorbikers, you have a community that is very strong and that is willing to share some advice. And mobile phone is a good tool to do that. Okay, and the last use case, so that was made in the fleet management sector in Switzerland. So we work with a company that provides fuel management system, and he integrated our app in his offer to address the car that cannot be addressed with external devices. Okay, so I'm going to finish quickly. So this is how we view ourselves in the value added. So we think smartphone-based solutions are very interesting for their simplicity and their cost efficiency. We also bring an interesting portfolio of services around energy efficiency and safety, because we bring an expertise that was made. We come from a research institute that was focused on the automotive industry, and thanks to that, we know how to deal with the data collected by mobile phones, and we know how to build some value-added services. Okay, so if you have any question, I will be happy to answer them in the lobby. I guess I just finished.
Thank you, Philippe. Exactly 7 minutes. Fantastic.